So it is week 5 for the Falcons. They are heading into Tampa. Get this, with the possibility of taking sole possession of the NFC South. Again, Jarvis, you, I, and probably the rest of the world.
Right.
Dirty
Yes.
Birds Nation was like, what? We got an opportunity to do this.
Say
And
what?
so it's been right. It's been so crazy because I saw a stat that said it's been 1,700 days, Jarvis, since the Falcons have been above 500. They also have the chance to do that this weekend. But if they do, they'll have to do it definitely without Cordarrelle Patterson because, of course, he's on IR, having had a surgical procedure to deal with that knee injury he's been kind of working through. And we found out that after a couple of days of Kyle Pitts not going to practice, dealing with a knee injury, he may be up in the air for playing on Sunday. So to me, I'm thinking about it to myself and I'm like, whoa, granted, this team has definitely been dominated with the ground game. That's where they've been most effective. But on the same token, we've all been waiting for KP to have that breakout game. So I was really thinking like, I wonder which one of these players is going to be missed the most and which one of these players has Dave Ragone or Arthur Smith really had to game play for or game plan for a little bit better should he or will he be out come Sunday?
You know what? To be honest with you, I think that Kyle Pitts is gonna a guy you're gonna have to miss the most, right? Because he's the guy that is the unicorn, because Cordarrelle Patterson, there we know exactly who his replacement is going to be, and we got a
Mm,
chance to see those guys last week in Tyler Algier and Avery Williams, and
yep.
you know what I'm saying. So you understand, and I mean, and Caleb Huntley as well, excuse me. And
Mhm,
so you
mhm.
know what those guys can bring to the table because hey, they got live action last week and they did really well. They did a good job of filling in. But when we talk about the mismatch, the unicorn, Kyle Pitts, and what he brings to the table, and I know a lot of people saying, well, coach ain't using him anyway, so why would that be a big deal? Here's why.
Yeah.
Because like when it comes to reading and recognizing the personnel that's in the Falcons huddle, because a lot of
Mhm.
defense coordinators call plays accordingly, right? They call
Sure.
plays according to that to see what personnel that's out on the field, and they try to figure out what what is run or pass or what they're likely to do with
Mhm.
those guys on the field. Like that's kind of hard to do when you got a guy we know he's listed as a tight end, but we know
Mhm.
that guy can line up in the slot. He can line up at the X and the Z. Like where he can line up anywhere on the field, and he
Mhm.
even been lined up in the backfield on some instances. So
Yes, yes.
that element, that element of surprise or that extra guess that the defense has to take when they have Kyle Pitts on the field. That's
Mhm.
what you're going to miss if he isn't to play. And I think that's going to be a big deal when it comes to Arthur Smith scheme and what he's trying to do or trying to accomplish when it comes to trying to defeat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And also, Algier, Huntley, and Williams can cover for CP. No
Yes,
KP, a little bit harder to cover for Marcus Mariota. And
no
what I
doubt.
mean by that is this: the Bucks are going to be prepared for stopping the run. They're actually dead on in terms of their statistically, they're number 7 against the pass, they're number 7 against the run. So you're going to get it from either direction when it comes to the Bucks.
Right.
However, Todd Bowles is known for blitzkrieg. That's what he does. And
Yes,
so
Lord.
if you're looking at somebody who's all about the blitz and they're going to be coming after Mariota fast and furious, he needs to be able to get rid of the ball and get rid of the ball however he can to somebody who can just throw it up and let that person catch it. And granted, you do have that in Drake London, but without KP, you miss 2 options. And let's just be honest, once you kind of get past Drake London and you kind of get past KP, then it kind of gets a little thin in the receiver tight end room, especially because
Yeah.
you're looking at the tight end room as, let's be honest, if it's not KP, they really are more blocking tight ends than
Yes.
they are catching tight ends. So I agree with you. I think KP is where you miss the most. And I imagine that at some point, you're kind of looking at a Bucks team as well that has struggled with unicorn type tight ends. That's
Mhm.
where they struggle the most. So it would have been a great opportunity and could still be if KP's a go. But I agree with you. If he's not a go, that's probably where the Falcons offense is going to miss most. And then you think about this as well. Speaking of number one, at some point, your QB just cannot be the game manager. At some point, he will be asked to make a play. We saw that Thursday night, did we not?
Yes, Lord.
Everybody was looking. Is Matt Ryan going to make a play? Is Russell Wilson going to make a play? Who's going to make a play? So at some point, the quarterback has to make a play, or even in the game where the Packers were able to get by the Bucks, it was Aaron Rodgers who really made the difference. Is Marcus Mariota prepared for that type of challenge, especially with what I just mentioned, with how Todd Bowles schemes for quarterbacks?
I'll say I know people will probably be surprised by what I'm about to say.
You clearly are on the
Yes,
struggle bus with what you're about to say.
yes,
So I'm
yes.
interested
It's a
to see what
struggle,
it
yeah,
is.
because he struggled. So yeah, of course I
Right?
struggle with
It
trying to,
makes sense.
make sure I'm being objective when I talk about this dude because a lot of people just really like Marcus Mariota for a lot of, and I get it. He's a really good guy, and
I'll sit my Waffle House into and listen to this. Okay, Jarvis.
yes, I love it. But
Okay.
but here's the thing. Here's the thing. If Marcus Mariota is able to play a clean game,
Yeah.
yes, I believe he will be able to make a play. Not carry the team, not carry this offense. He will
Right.
be able to make one or two, or maybe 2 to 3
Mhm.
necessary plays in order to sustain drives to be able to get them in the end zone. Because I
Yes.
think that there is a little room. And I know you said that they're top 10 in both categories, right? But they are giving up 4.6 yards a pop in the running game. So I think
Mhm.
that's their end right there for Arthur Smith and company. So, but Marcus Mariota has to play a clean game in order for us to even have this conversation about him making plays in
Yeah.
order for them to get a win and take over this NFC South division. And
Yeah.
instead sit at the top of it and say, hey,
Mhm.
this is where we are. You
Yeah.
guys counted us out, 45th ranked out of 32 teams. That still makes me laugh every time I watch that clip of Arthur Smith talk about it after the game. But I think that it's definitely something that we definitely have to keep an eye on because like a 7-year veteran, guy who's been in the NFL for this long, like
Mhm.
certain things you just aren't supposed to see. And I
Sure.
think that, he has to get those things cleaned up. And
Yeah.
then that's when we start talking about conversations about making plays. And because I don't believe Arthur Smith is going to put Marcus Mariota in a situation where he feels like he can't make a mistake. It's
Right.
just about the mental things for Marcus Mariota and making sure he's getting those right. And then I think that this offense will be okay.
And hopefully the mindset of his offensive line, who've really given him every opportunity to succeed this
Yep.
season, hopefully their mindset will kind of rub off on him because when we think about what we've seen from them the last couple of years, when is the last time we've said that we would take Atlanta's offensive line and believe that they can actually battle and win in the trenches, even when they're facing a top 10 defense? We have not said that in a very long time. So if Mariota can make those 2 or 3 key plays that keeps drives alive and possibly puts the Falcons in position to win, I would venture to say you and I Monday will be talking about yet another stellar performance from the offensive line. Now, interestingly enough, the Falcons are in the conversation to take sole possession of the lead. The Bucs were always the team that everybody thought was going to be in the conversation the
Like
entire
hands down.
season.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And most of the season would be in sole possession of first place. Not so much. So I believe that with that in mind, and with most people having absolutely no expectations of the Falcons, pressure's on the Bucs to win this game.
Oh, it has to be. Like, especially coming off of the L they took, that nice whooping they took. Excuse me, my bad. Sorry for that Freudian slip. That whooping they took from the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think that the one thing that really stood out to me in that game is that Patrick Mahomes was just out there just doing his doggone things. He's just being cold as he
Yeah.
ever has been, and I think that, we've gotten so used to Patrick Mahomes just being so
Mhm.
great. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
No,
No,
that
that was
mofo was out there balling.
yeah.
Like that needs to be
Yeah.
acknowledged.
Yeah.
And he spanked the goat, so I think that, if those things remain in play, and I think that it definitely the pressure is on. The pressure is on the
Mhm.
Bucks here for sure because like the
Yes.
Falcons out here grinding, head down,
Playing with
run the
house money.
football. Hey, we go defense gonna force some turnovers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, did you hear what I just said?
Right.
Like run the football. Defense gonna
Right.
force some
Yes.
turnovers. Like it's
Exactly.
automatic. Like you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, gee, what is
Yes.
going on here?
You have some
It's
containment on the outside. What
like
is this thing?
identity. Like
Yes. Identity.
wow.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So I think that there are definitely some things that the Falcons need to do for sure. But like you
Mhm.
said, Bucks Bucks are expected to win, and I think that the Falcons are okay being going along with that narrative.
Indeed, they are playing with house money, and it's a beautiful thing to see. And we can't wait to talk to you guys about it on Monday. But it's interesting because sometimes there are players who go into a particular league or in a particular situation, and everybody thinks, oh, that person is playing with house money, they got it made. But you never know what's going on behind the scenes that may be making that a little bit challenging. So in For the Culture, we're going to talk a little bit about how one of those situations came full circle and how one league is coming full circle and how they want to extend their reach. We'll talk about it in For the Culture.